morning, everyone. We are going to get started. So we're going to start every class with me asking you guys, how are you? How are you right now? So like we talked about last week, we're going to first, before we answer, before you give me thumbs up, thumbs down, somewhere in the middle, I want to check in. So let's do that really quick. If it helps you to put your hands on your forehead, we're going to check in and notice what thoughts are up there. What are we thinking right now? And then we're going to jump down to our heart. We're going to notice what emotions are there right now. Good. And then we're just going to do a full body check-in and see what sensations, what feelings, what is our body trying to tell us right now? Got it? Okay, so I'm going to ask you again. How is everyone doing right now? Let's see it. Good, so, meh. Okay, nice. So last week, we saw the video on the roller coaster breath. Remember the two little girls doing the roller coaster breath? That was one of the videos. I want to teach you really quick before we jump in today's lesson, 2 more breathing tools that can help us. So again, going back to last week, remember how I said I wanted you guys to be explorers. I wanted you to discover what tools are things that help us, right? What tools work for you when you are in that red and yellow zone? What are things that help you out? For me, and I said a big one is the breath, remember, because it triggers your brain and tells you to start to calm down and really, really helps you. So we learned roller coaster breath. I want to teach you 2 more breaths that can serve as tools for you guys. We're going to talk about them throughout this lesson as well. So the first one is called ocean breath. And it's called that because if you've ever held a conch shell, this is a conch shell, up to your ear, you can be here in the mountains in Colorado and it feels like you're on the beach. It feels like you can hear the ocean waves. And so that's what this breath does. So that's why I call it ocean breath. It tends to be everyone's favorite. It definitely is mine. And so how you do it is I found for me, it works the best if you can breathe in and out of your nose. So if you can keep your lips tight and just breathe in and out of your nose. If you can't, if you have allergies or a little stuffy or just doesn't feel comfortable, that's okay. I just found for me, it works best if I breathe in and out of my nose. And then before we do it, I'm going to give you some pointers, but you're going to cover your ears. But when you cover them, don't use this part because there's like all these little holes in there. You want to use this nice big beefy palm part and you're going to cup your ears. And we're going to breathe in and out of our nose. I'm going to do it with you so you can follow me. Okay, we're going to take 3 ocean breaths. So hands up, there it is. Okay, we're going to cup, ready? Good. Did it kind of sound like if you held a shell up to your ear? Some kids say it sounds more like an astronaut, like if you're in outer space. So you could call it astronaut breath too if you want, whatever works for you. So that's ocean breath. Now, on the same theme of oceans, I start to think of boats. And then I come to another really good breath called the anchor breath. And just like how an anchor holds a boat in place, that's what it's for. You drop the anchor and it kind of keeps the boat from moving too much, keeps it in one place. Our anchor breath does that for us. So we kind of touched on it last week where it's the slow, deep belly breaths. That's what we want. That is the anchor breath. So it is when you breathe in and you want that, it's nice and slow, deep breaths, and you want that air to travel all the way down to your belly. So when you breathe in, your belly kind of sticks out a little bit. And then when you breathe out, it just goes back in. And you breathe in, and your belly sticks out a little bit because it has all the air in it. And then you breathe out, and it goes back in. Those slow, deep breaths that go all the way to your belly, that is called anchor breath because it anchors you right here, right now to what is happening. It gives you that moment of mindfulness, that brief pause to see what's going on around us and also inside of us, anchoring you to that present moment. Okay, so we have roller coaster breath, we have ocean breath, and now we have those nice big belly anchor breaths. I think we're ready to start our lesson today. Our lesson today is on the pause. So last week we talked about, we used the stoplight, right? Green, yellow, red. And I said how I could do a whole lesson on the yellow part of the stoplight. That one that says to slow down, pause for a sec before you decide if you're gonna go or stop. So that is actually a lot of what this lesson is on. It is on the pause. I usually teach it in 2 separate lessons. We're going to try our best to combine them into one big lesson today. So let's just start and get going. Okay, so you might see a common theme. Last week we did stop light, and this week I'm going to use a stop sign. So just like the stop light, the stop sign, right, is used to keep us and everyone around us safe. But I like to turn it into a mindfulness tool. And when I see a stop sign, I like to think of it like this. The S stands for stop. Pretty easy, right? So there's a simple one. Stop. The T stands for take a breath. So that's why I wanted to teach you those extra breathing tools. It could be just a slow belly breath, anchor breath, or you could do a really fun one like the ocean breath or roller coaster. So we have stop, take a breath. O stands for observe, which is just a really fancy way of saying notice. Pay attention to what's going on around you. That's your 5 senses, what's going on outside of you. And then also notice what's going on inside of you. And that's what we just did a minute ago, where we checked in with our thoughts and our emotions and overall what we're feeling. So stop, take a breath, notice, observe. And then P stands for proceed with what you're doing. Proceed, another fancy word for just continue on with what you're doing. This doesn't need to take more than just a couple seconds. It's just a brief pause, a brief moment of stillness. Take a breath or 2, notice what's going on outside, inside, and then continue on with whatever it is that you're doing. This is for teachers or parents out there. A little tip, I love to recommend hanging this in your classroom. You can just print one off the internet, hang it in your classroom. It's a really good tool, or at home for any of our homeschool or virtual learners out there. You could hang it in the kitchen or a playroom, but it's a really good transitional tool to use. You can do it together as a class. Maybe it's after snack and you're transitioning into math. You can just get everyone's attention, point to the stop sign, and all together you stop, take a breath. It could be one of our fun ones. Notice what's going on around, what's going on in, and then proceed to math or whatever it is you're doing. Coming in from lunch or recess, this is a great tool to do that as well. But basically what it does, and I love this quote, what you are telling yourself is, I give myself time today to stop, breathe, and enjoy the moment. So maybe this could be a cool little mantra that you guys focus on this week. Anytime you see a stop sign, to stop, breathe, and enjoy the moment. Really be in the present moment. Now, kids, we have more stop signs than stop lights, definitely, where we live. So when you're driving, this is really fun. Teach this to your parents, teach this to your siblings. Every time you see a stop sign in the car, like, stop, Mom, take a breath with me. Let me teach you a really cool breath. Notice what's going on outside of the car. Notice what's going on inside of us, and then you can proceed with talking or playing a game, whatever it was you were doing before. How are we in time? I have a fun movement game. I think I'm going to hold it until the end. Hopefully we have enough time. If not, I will make sure teachers to give it as a supplement. There's lots of fun movement games you can play with this stop sign, but we are going to move on to the second part, of this lesson, of the pause lesson, and that is with remote. So no, I'm not going to play a movie on the TV behind me. That would be really fun. But we are going to talk about how a remote, a TV remote, can also be used as a mindfulness tool. So unfortunately for you guys, you're probably, most of you around 7, maybe some are turning 8 already, and you just don't have full control over everything in your life right now, right? I mean, it's just the reality of being a kid. Maybe you're getting some independence. You get to pick what you wear to school. You pack your own snacks. You decide what you're going to play at recess, like all of those really good choices that you are getting to make now. But I'm not so sure you would have full control over your TV remote. Now, maybe some of you are like, I do. I'm allowed to turn on my favorite show, or I know how to pull up my favorite movie that I have recorded. But if it was 10:30 at night on a school night and you couldn't sleep, I'm not so sure your mom and dad would let you have full control over this remote to watch whatever you want late at night. But there is a remote that you do have full control over. I like to call it our emotional remote control. And this is a remote that you have full control over. So it has all the basic buttons. It has the channel up and down, the volume, the mute, on and off. You can choose whether you want to use it or not, right? On or off. And then it's our emotional remote control. So these are my channels. And you can create your own. This is a great art project. I just traced a remote and put it on some construction paper, and you can make up your own channels. So these are all my emotional channels. So I have happy, peaceful, sad, and you can come up with your own. And then on the bottom are my tools. And then these are the things that help me. So remember, I said this is so personal. My remote might look totally different than your remote, and that's okay. So you need to come up with your tools. But for me, I have anchor breath, right? That's always such a good one because it literally sends signals to your brain. I have dancing. I love movement. Drawing. And then I meant for this to be bigger and I totally misjudged my space, but I have gratitude on the bottom there. And that is meant to take up the whole bottom section because gratitude, being thankful, is such a big tool for me. And again, that is something that seems really simple, like the breath, but it actually triggers your brain. So really cool. That's always on mine. So these are the different buttons on my personal remote control. There's one button on this remote that is crucial that you can't do these things without. Can you guess what it is? Probably, right? Because it's in red. Pause. The pause button, that brief pause, is what gives you the power, gives you the control to choose what you're going to do. Pause. Am I going to change the channel? And am I going to mute? Am I going to use the volume? You get to decide. So I'm going to give you a quick, how are we in time? Okay, super quick example of what this might look like so you can just relate to it. And then hopefully you can make one of these at home. So let's say it's Saturday morning. It's sunny. Your friend's coming over to play. Your mom made chocolate chip pancakes. What an amazing mom. You are on the happiness channel. But then all of a sudden your mom's cell phone rings and you hear her go, oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, I'll tell him. Next thing you know, you find out your friend who was just going to come over, right, and play. You had plans all week for this. He just sprained his wrist. He was riding his bike and he fell and he sprained his wrist. So now he can't come. And you're like, what? Immediately you're on the disappointed channel. How could this happen? I mean, you had plans and you are so bummed. And your mom says, hey, buddy, it's Saturday morning. You have all weekend. Don't let this ruin your weekend. Don't let this ruin it. And you're like, all right, I guess mom is right on this one. I'm going to use my tools. I'm going to use gratitude, right? Gratitude, being thankful. It actually works, I promise. And you think, well, it is my friend and I don't want to see my friend hurt. So I'm thankful that he just sprained his wrist. He needs to ice it for, a couple hours, but he's going to be okay. Okay, so that makes me feel a lot better. So you use the tool to change your channel to, what are we on? Peaceful. You're peaceful. You're calm. But before you know it, you hear those footsteps of your little brother again, and then you hear him go, uh-oh, as you hear a crashing sound. Your little brother just destroyed that brand new Lego set you spent all that time building, and you are immediately on the anger channel. Before you can even think about your remote control, you are on the anger channel, and you are so mad that you're just about to push your brother out of the room when, what do you do? What do you do? Hit it. Hit it. You're about to just push your brother and say something mean, and it's just going to cause a big, big, big problem. So you hit your pause button. You come to your remote. What tool are you going to use? Let's say the breath, because we are very red right now. We are very angry. You take a breath. It doesn't help. You take another breath and some more, and you start to calm down. And before you can even decide what channel you're going to be on, you hear your little sister scream out, "No, Goldie!" And you're like, what happened to Goldie, the goldfish? Goldie, the goldfish, died. What? Could this day get any worse? Seriously? It's Saturday. It's supposed to be a good day. How could this day be any worse? And now you are on the saddest channel that you have felt in a really long time. I picked this. It's a little pause in our story. I picked this on purpose because I wanted to show you guys that sometimes when we are feeling a deep sadness over the loss of something loved, it can't and shouldn't be changed right away, right? It's okay to stay on the sadness channel until you can process it and start to slowly lower that volume. So Goldie was your very first pet, and you are so sad, and you're like in the red sad. And so maybe you get a hug. Hug was one of the tools from last week that I said really works well for me. Maybe your mom gives you a really good hug, like one of those really good squeezes, and that brings you down from red to yellow. You're lowering the volume. You're still sad, and that's okay. Stay on that channel. You're still sad, but you lower the volume. And then over time, using another tool, maybe you draw a picture. Drawing is really good. You draw a picture of Goldie and you hang it in your room, and that allows you to lower the volume even more. So you go from red to yellow to green, and then eventually you're ready to change that channel. And maybe acceptance, that's a big channel for me. So all of these situations, all these examples are basically talking, this is a quote from UB.U, and I love this one. It's let the pause become the possibility. So the possibility for you to choose, right? Pause just for a sec. It doesn't need to be this whole drawn out thing. Pause for a moment, right? Use one of your tools to help you be in control, help you decide how you want to go on. What is your next move going to be? But I would love for you guys to practice stopping, right? Taking a breath, noticing what's going on. Maybe make your own remote control. Really practice not letting people push your buttons, being in full control over your emotions and what tools you're going to use. And then also remember that tomorrow, Wednesday, we have our Go Virtually Anywhere field trips. I'm so excited. I'm going to give you 2 clues on what tomorrow is going to be, and I'm going to leave you with that. Clue number 1 is it's going to be outside, and clue number 2, it's going to be about nature. So those are my clues. I hope you guys can watch. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys. Bye. Thank you.